Whom do we seek? Fearless! How do we find him? Together! Fearless! Give us light to see forever! Will he hide from us always? Never!
It's worse than we thought. Most of the Jem'Hadar lines have been broken. Even the Great Link is in danger. I'm going to coordinate our defenses at the link. Meet me there.
We'll meet you there as soon as we can. And Odo, be careful.
The Jem'Hadar have come to our aid. Now, we will return the favor.
Fight well. Good. There are many Hurk between us and the Great Link. We go there now to reclaim our lives, for we are already dead.
We won't last long out in the open like this.
Odo to Kira. We're fortifying our position near the Great Link.
Understood. We're on our way.
Confess my surprise at seeing you here, on this, the homeworld of the gods. Truly, we are living in strange times. You'll forgive my boldness, but there are still founders under attack nearby. Can I count on you to aid them and destroy the wretched creatures who would do them harm?
This changeling's losing morphogen.
I don't know you, son. I thank you for your service.
invasion?
Made it. Good. We're going to need all the help we can get here. It looks like the Herc are focusing their attacks on the link. I've called for reinforcements, but most of our lines have been overrun. We're going to make a stand here and hope the Doctor's plan is successful. If not, if we fail, this may be the day the Dominion dies.
Please tell me you have more Gentlemen coming to help.
The call's been sent, but they may not arrive in time.
We'll do what we can with what we have then.
As always, until the end.
I'm not sure I like the way you said that, Odo.
Nerys, if we don't make it...
No, now is not the time for this discussion.
Look around. There may not be a better time.
You're right. And I understand what you
You
do.
do? Then you know how sorry I am for everything.
Yes. And I forgive you.
I know. I feel the same.
Die as I live!
Nerys, are you hurt?
It's just a scratch, and fine. We're losing ground here, Odo. Keep fighting!
We can't hold this position much longer.
That's Jem'Hadar, for we're about to die, Doctor! Are you ready?
Not without the kt3 components needed for the cure.
kt3. Yes. Victory.
Wait! Stop!
Is life.
It seems the battle is over, but how? What happened up there, Doctor?
I believe Deepan Rex realized that his own body contained the kt3 material I needed to finalize the cure. He extracted what we knew at the cost of his life. Once the Herc were able to synthesize the cure, they came to their senses and called for an immediate ceasefire. Their forces are withdrawing as we speak. It's over, Odo. I won't say we won. It's over. There was nothing I could do for him on the Herc Dreadnought. The kt3 extraction process was too devastating. Odo, you treated him like a son when we first found him on DS9, and I'm truly sorry.
He didn't even have a name when he left us. I'll make sure the name he found is never forgotten. I remember his first days on the station. All he wanted to do was fight. Didn't matter who. When he left, I thought I'd never see him again, or if I did, it'd be as enemies. The man I met years later still knew how to fight, but his reasons for doing so had changed dramatically. I'm proud to have known him. I wish I could have done more in the end. I suppose you're right. I believe Captain Kira was looking for you. She was at the Temple of the Prophets last I checked. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to pay my respects. We'll talk more later.
And here we are, once again. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? Funny you should mention that. After we got back, Starfleet Command offered me a number of postings, even the center chair on one of those shiny new cruisers. tempting. But I chose to join the command staff here on DS9. Bajor and the Celestial Temple mean a lot to me, and this station is a good place to keep them both safe. Subtle, but you're not wrong. Odo and I have a lot to work out before we're back to where we were, but we've taken a few good steps in that direction. I think it'll work out. Eventually. He's a hard man to read sometimes.
It is good to see you once more. I was hoping we'd have a moment to speak on an important matter before your duties take you back to the stars. My thoughts often return to the Orb of Peace. It was no coincidence that it was found in the Gamma Quadrant, in the midst of two warring tribes. I believe it to be a message from the prophets, one of guidance in troubled times. Now that the conflict with the Herc has ended, I feel it's time to explore this omen more thoroughly. The recent vision experienced by Loris is truly remarkable. That the prophets would speak to a Vorta. Again, this is no coincidence. Simply put, I believe the orb is meant to broker a lasting peace between the people of our quadrants and the Dominion.
Hello again, my friend. It pleases me to see you. I have interesting news. Thankfully, no. Rather, it involves the Orb of Peace that you returned with Kaiopaka. It has spoken to me. I've been exploring the meaning of that experience with the Kai and Captain Kira. They are, after all, experts on such matters. While we all find it curious that an Orb of the Prophets would speak to a Vorta, we also agree it would be foolish to ignore it. With the blessings of Founder Odo, I have been transferred to this quadrant to continue my studies of the Orb and the Prophets. I shall also serve as Founder Odo's representative here. Diplomacy is my specialty, after all. I'm sure we'll be seeing one another again. May the blessings of the Founders and the Prophets be yours.
Thank you for coming to visit. After all we've been through, it means a lot to have friends, even if it reminds me of the ones we miss. Speaking of reunions, I think General Martok is leading the charge against the Bloodwine at Quark's. I'm sure he'd want to congratulate you on another glorious victory. May the prophets watch over you.
Oh, I'm so glad to see this come to an end. But not as glad as everyone back on Ferenginar. It's a celebration of Rule 35 like no one's ever seen before. I mean, peace may be good for business, but things are really getting out of hand. When word got out that the Gamma Quadrant was open for business, the new Latinum rush was on. Open borders and free trade policies? My husband was practically weeping with joy. Oh, poor Odo. He thought he had his hands full with Quark on DS9. Now, he's gonna have an entire quadrant full of Ferengi to deal with.
We'll be here at DS9 until my ship is repaired. Fortunately, I have exclusive rights to the holosim of the battle. The sales of that alone will cover the cost of repairs, and then some. Some days, it's good to be the Grand Nagus. I don't like to think about how close to disaster we were, though. Fortunately, there were people like you out there to bring us all back from the brink. All those adventures. You've got quite a story to tell. That reminds me. Have you ever considered making a holo biography? I think your life story would be quite popular and profitable. I'll make you a very generous offer for the rights and cut you in on a share of the profits, say 25%. Suit yourself. The offer still stands if you change your mind.
I am forever indebted to you. Without your efforts, I would walk the path of exile for the rest of my days. Now, I will help make amends for all that has happened during Zenketh's terrible crusade.
We need to stop running into each other when the fate of the galaxy is on the line. I'd be fine with drinks here at Uncle's bar, or some baseball on the holodeck. That said, I can't think of too many people I trust when everything's on the line. Glad you are here for this. Starfleet's assigned the Chimera to peacekeeping duty in Herc space. We'll be working with the Joint Task Force to help the Herc get back on their feet again as well. There's a lot to be done, but we want to help them rejoin the galactic community. It is, but my crew is up for the challenge. They're some of Starfleet's best. Take care of yourself out there. Don't be a stranger.
A hard-fought battle and a well-earned victory. And yet, we almost missed it. Our fleet would have never left the Empire if it weren't for the sword's return. Grilka tells me her former mate, Quark, had something to do with that. The sacred blade of Kahless, returned to the Empire by a Ferengi. Madness! Yes, it was Worf's idea to ignite the beacon of Kahless. A bold move, but it paid off. Only a coward could refuse such a call to arms. The legend of Kahless is stronger than ever. It would not surprise me if the High Council moved to create a new clone of the Emperor. There is great power in legend, after all.
Welcome back. Seeing as this is a private party and I'm in an unusually generous mood, you'll be getting the VIP discount on your drinks tonight. Did you take a hit to the head in that fight? I'm in a good mood. Not insane. Half off. Take it or leave it. That's more like it. Don't take it personally. You could be Odo. His drinks? 50% markup. Not much to tell, really. Lex saw the error of his ways and gave it back. Then I had Grilka let Martok and Worf know we'd recovered their precious relic. A quick handoff later, and the Klingons were off to war. Rom and I tagged along, mainly to see the look on Odo's face when I rode in with the cavalry. That was priceless. If I die tomorrow, I'll go to the Exchequer with a smile on my face. Who do you think you're talking to? Nog? Unlike the Federation, the Klingons know the value of Latinum. I'm thinking of spending my cut on a smaller moon to orbit the one I already have. I might even name it Odo. Can I get you something? Interesting. There's a message from Garrick on my monitor here. Text only. He wants you to meet him at his old tailor shop. Maybe he's had enough of politics and wants to get back in the fashion game. Probably more profitable in the long run, and easier on the nerves. I wouldn't keep him waiting if I were you. He looks for secrets when he gets bored, and trust me, he's not the person you want poking around in your business.
The conflict may be over, but there's still plenty of work to be done. The Lucari have offered to help the Herc restore their homeworld's ecosystem, and they've accepted. Dr. Bashir will be working with us on this. It's our goal to ensure that no Herc will go without nourishment again. Some time ago, I hoped for a path to peaceful resolution to our troubles with the Herc. I'm happy to be part of such a solution, at last. Thank you for your efforts in getting us all to this point. to peace.
Thank you for meeting me here. Strangely, I find it easy to center myself in this shop, even relax. Quite so. Cardassia is about to begin a new journey, as it were, and I'll be going along for the ride. Oh, it is. Cardassia has been offered membership in the Alliance, and we've accepted. Our seat at the table was hard-earned, but we're ready and grateful to join the ongoing efforts. Officer exchange programs have already begun. In fact, I suspect you'll be seeing more Cardassian faces in the future. I hope you show them the same courtesy as you've shown me in our shared adventures. Oh, I'll be spending time on Earth, Kronos, and New Romulus. The life of an ambassador is never dull, after all. Someone needs to make sure the Alliance doesn't forget about Cardassia, and I suppose that someone is me. I'll be sure to follow your exploits, of course. They'll be far more entertaining than economic forecasts and state functions, to be sure. I believe our fearless leaders would like to have a word with you next.
I have initiated a dialogue between the Dominion and the Karema. In light of recent events, I feel it is imperative that their conflict is resolved peacefully. Whether that results in an independent Karema or not remains to be seen, but I shall endeavor to help them reach a result that is beneficial for both parties.
There have been some significant diplomatic events since your return from the Gamma Quadrant. First, the Dominion is joining the Alliance. Having them as allies will take some getting used to, but the opportunity was too great to ignore. As a condition to joining the Alliance, we requested that the Founders take steps to free the Jem'Hadar from their addiction to Ketracel White. I'm happy to say that Ambassador Odo is inclined to comply with that request. It will make things interesting in the Gamma Quadrant, to be sure. Still, it's been a long time coming. The Jem'Hadar should be able to live their lives freely.
The Havas Cool sector has been designated as independent from the Dominion, and a Herc neutral zone has been established around it. The Empire will join the Federation and the Republic in keeping the peace between the Dominion and the Herc. We have experience in enforcing a neutral zone, after all. Martok's use of the beacon and the return of the blade has led to a renewed interest in Kahless throughout the Empire. Some say that Martok stands with honor next to great heroes like Tukuvma, Voke, L'Rell, and Kang. As if getting along with a stubborn old Targ wasn't difficult enough, his ego will be larger than Mount Hamar at this rate. It is fortunate that Martok has little in the way of political aspirations. Otherwise, I may need to kill him. Again. Ha!
Things are finally settling down around here. Well, as much as it ever settles down, that is. Well, there's a lot to be done with the Herc, and being part of Starfleet will help me make things happen in that regard. When I'm not here, I'll be working with the Lucari and the crew of the USS Aventine to help the Herc get back on their feet. Indeed, but I happen to be married to the captain of the Aventine, so it won't be, too bad. The kids won't be joining us until Kumake and her team restore Havas Cool to a more habitable state, however. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. But until then, be safe out there. Doctor's orders.
The Dominion is about to go through a number of changes, liberating the Jem'Hadar from the White, phasing out the Founders' benevolent dictatorship, establishing a safe haven for the Herc. Needless to say, I'm going to be very busy for quite some time. No, there are still a number of Founders within the Great Link who will be very resistant to change. I'd like to think they're outnumbered by those willing to take a more democratic approach, however. The last thing anyone needs is a Dominion civil war. Also, not all of the Herc were cured. We'll be dealing with rogue swarms for some time. I hope we can call on you in the future if we run into that special kind of trouble you have a talent for dealing with. Oh, and speaking of trouble, you might keep an eye on Quark. That little act of heroism with the Sword of Kahless will make him bolder than ever. The future of the Dominion is uncertain for the first time in many years. Without the Founder and her unbreakable will at the center of it all, the Gamma Quadrant will undoubtedly go through a great deal of turmoil. I'll do what I can to maintain order and keep the peace, but it's going to be challenging, to say the least. For now, what matters to me is that you fought for the Dominion when we needed it the most. I won't forget that. And thanks to the Great Link, neither will the Founders. Thank you. I hope we meet again under much better circumstances. If you'll excuse me.